Feeling so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would. Feel without. Stretching our self-awareness like a muscle every morning. Please allow all of these words to go in one ear and out the other. As we are stretching our self-awareness, how art thou today? How are you? I'm happy that you have joined here today on a Mover Monday. It is 5:35 a.m. on September 20th, 2021. It is a Monday, Mover Monday, everybody. How art thou? Where are you? Are you in that bed of yours? Are you getting up, maybe doing some chores? Have you already got up and walked out the doors? Maybe put on a new change of clothes, of course. How are you? Are you ready to wake the worlds up physically, mentally, spiritually, and then physically again by using our senses, by using our sense of the world to make sense of the world? I want to invite you today to pretending that there is a candle, a lit candle, like a flaming lit candle. I want to invite you to pretend there's a candle, maybe 2 to 3 inches in front of your lips, that you're trying to not put out. And remember that little candle is just flickering, like a birthday candle. It's your birthday. Dun, 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 dun. It's your birthday. Let's pretend that there is a candle in front of thy lips that you are trying to not put out today. It's just flickering there. As we remember, the back of 1/3 of our tongue is, if you would say it with me, even if it's just in your head, vertical, up and down, up and down. If you would please say it with me, back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. Even if it's just in your head. Good morning out there. It feels so fantastic to remember that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And welcome to another episode of Pal Go On, where we will be discussing, hey, how about you take a look at yourself and all the benefits that that could do for yourself, and how do we go about that? Every day, every weekday, as we are going about stretching our self-awareness like a muscle and holding our controller properly. in this simulation of ours. In this simulation of ours in which you die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with an inhale with every breath you take. With every breath you take. We've got a job for you today. I challenge you today, in your mind's eye, to pretend that in everybody's mind's eye, they're thinking about a candle floating 2 to 3 inches in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. We've got a job for you today. We've got a job for you today. The people out there are waiting for you to place a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. Get up and get moving. We got a job for you today. Every morning, we've got a job for you today. You are needed. You are absolutely needed on deck. We need you to be invited to pretend that there's a candle with me in front of not just your lips, but in front of every human being's lips. There is a candle in front of their lips that they're perceiving in their mind's eye or whatever. And this candle in front of every human being's lips, they're just trying to not put out. In this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, that timer is reset with a breath, we are each holding our controller properly by perceiving everyone in the world as we become aware of them. Every person has a candle in front of their lips, and this is how they hold the controller in this simulation. This is how we're holding the phone properly, is there is a candle in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. And the back 1/3 of their tongue is vertical, as the tip of their tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, as we are observing our sense of self. As we are always observing our sense of self, stretching our self-awareness like a muscle today, no matter wherever you are, whether you are playing down this in your car, or are you maybe hanging out with some friends? Are you really far or are you really close by? Have you been able to keep in contact with loved ones lately? Have you been feeling lonely? Have you been feeling accepted by yourself? Have you been feeling dejected by yourself lately? As we are remembering that the tip of our tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, and the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical. Unlock those throat chakras. Align the body. As in pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that we're trying to not put out. In the same way you don't press a button on a microwave so that you can simply press a button, but you are intending for the microwave to do certain things. You intend for the microwave to turn on. You're not just trying to press a button. In the same way, you're not just trying to pretend there's a candle in front of the lips that you're not trying to put out, but the ending result of the muscle action that happens when you do perceive the candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out creates the necessary pull in your body to get a proper breath, and the end result is a proper breath, the proper alignment of the body, although the action may be the candle in front of the lips, although the action may be the button press on the microwave. The end result is what we're looking for, which is the alignment of the body. As we are pretending that there is a candle in front of our lips that we are intending to not put out. That intention is important, that little resistance. It's important to create that friction, to open up that muscular area for your breathing. We'll be right back to talk about how we apply this to looking at ourselves as we're feeling so good from the inside out. Wherever you are, whether you are from the Twitterverse, Instagramverse, TikTokverse, whether you are here and now, like our homeboy Felipe Moulin, or you are there in the future as some time traveler bringing us there with you. We'll be talking about looking at ourselves today. We will be talking about some body magic tricks today to make us feel so great from the inside out. Will we be just leaving us with some vapid language, or will we be using us some actionable language today? So some repeatable regimens today to balance ourselves, to find ourselves a baseline, so then we can then understand ourselves and thus everything else as we feel so great from the inside out. We'll be right back. Continue doing what you're doing as we blend into this symphony of your life. We'll be right back. I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Whether you are hailing here from YouTube, I want to thank you from YouTube. Whether you're on Twitch, I want to thank you on Twitch. Whether you're on D Live, I want to thank you on D Live. Whether you're on some other platform, whether you are coming here telekinetically, I want to thank you for tuning on in. How often are you here? Are we loving life today, or are we fearing death? How do we go about loving life, making sure we are loving the opportunities right here and now, and make sure that we are not fearing death, thinking about other times that might be that are just in our head, concocted in our head? Well, we must feel good. Why? Because when you feel good, don't you think good? And when you think good, don't you do good? Again, that is, when you feel good, don't you think good? As you can think infinity things, right? And when you think good, don't you do good? How do you go about loving this life where we feel good, as in, let's place the proper things into our awareness so our body freaking feels good. Don't just take my word for it, of course. See for yourself if you are pretending that there's a candle in front of everybody's lips, every human being's lips, that they themselves are trying to not put out, and it's just flickering there. And they're trying to not put it out as they leave their swallowing muscles alone. Remembering that the back 1/3 of their tongue wants to be vertical, and the tip of everybody's tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Here on Mover Monday, where we will be discussing some things that your moving body does, your amazing, beautiful body that you are. This amazing, beautiful body that you are in. This window to this godlike experience that you are. That amazing body that you live in. Some body magic tricks to see how it feels to go about changing that awareness, not even doing nothing, but simply shifting our awareness, moving it this way and that way, the same way you would shift your awareness to your left arm if you wanted to raise your arm in class. And then you shift your awareness back to your entire body when you want your arm to melt back into the awareness of your entire body. The same way we can shift our awareness of our body to cause it to do all sorts of things like that, change its posture, and also change our own spirit, as in our body's willingness to give itself permission to output energy into whatever it is that we are currently focused on. Our spirit, our body's willingness to output energy into whatever it is that we're thinking about. Our spirit. The fact that we can affect our own spirit using simply our self-awareness and awareness of the world. But as you know, the world is you, so self-awareness becomes awareness of the world. This new world order in which the new way to become aware of the world in just a vapid way so that we could walk around feeling like we're better than other people, or to actually make your body do something like crazy, some body magic tricks. You want to enter the flow state. You want to enter the chakra. What capabilities does our body have to do something new other than stretch our self-awareness, alter our self-awareness? As our body is this limited, finite, fleshy thing, right? Can only be at one place, be doing one thing, saying one thing at a time. Yet don't we feel so much connection to so many different art forms that describe the human experience to be something gigantic? How can that be possible when our fleshy bones, our fleshy flesh and our bony bones are only in one spot? How is this possible? What is it that we are allowed to evolve then, if not our self-awareness? As in, how are we aware of the world? As in, literally, how does your body literally change? How do your muscles literally change to alter the way that you are breathing, to alter your experience? Because as you know, in this simulation, we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath, which means that every breath is life or death, which means that every breath is the most important thing to you, preceding food, preceding sleep, preceding water. Breathing, most important thing, and such that it cultivates, it crafts your entire spirit. How well you are breathing in this moment crafts and shapes your entire spirit of this moment. And so how do we cultivate that breathing to be better? Apparently, with these body magic tricks, depending on what you put your awareness on, your body aligns a certain way. Does that feel a certain way for you? How does that feel for you? Does that feel foreign? Does that feel like a lie? Does that feel true? How does that resonate with you? Wherever you are, whether you are typing on a computer, whether you are playing guitar, whether you are playing piano, whether you're being really quiet so that your mom and dad don't hear you this morning. Shh. Whether you're out in the middle of nowhere and you can be loud, wherever you are. How does that feel for you? To think about how you can cultivate your breathing depending on what your awareness is on. Because what your awareness is on will decide how your fleshy flesh aligns itself. In the same way that when you get a weird vibe from someone in the room, it becomes hard to ignore and your body just feels awkward, right? Depending on what your mind is in awareness of, your body literally does different things, does it not? As in, it's hard to literally shake this awkward feeling when you can tell that you've been awkward in the room. It's a physical sensation that you can't shake. Why? Because your awareness is on something. Awareness is on possible futures that you're afraid of, right? Your body locks down, has conflicting instructions, doesn't know what to do. Literally is not harmonious with itself, its relationship with itself. Your body becomes. Depending on what's in your awareness, right? Don't just take my word for it. How does it feel for you? How does it feel for you to pretend that there's a candle in front of everybody's lips that they're trying to not put out? How does it feel for you to know that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth? How does it feel for you to become aware that the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical? Up and down, up and down. If you would say it with me, even if it's just in your head, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And if you would one more time, even if it's just in your head with me, repeat after me, even if it's just in your head, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. What is it that we are able to shift around then? If not for these body magic tricks, to understand that our body's awareness, our mind and body, because you are so smart, you are this smart, you are this extraterrestrial being, you're just this amazing being. This window to this godlike experience that you truly know you are. With these body magic tricks, we found the body aligns a specific way depending on what's in its awareness, your mind and body's awareness. And how does that feel for you? Micro little muscles in the body. If you would say it with me, even if it's just in your head, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. As we are observing our sense of self, always, one more time, if you would say it with me, even if it's just in your head, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. As the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. As we are always remembering that there is a candle in front of everybody's lips that they are trying to not put out. Always remembering the candle still flickering that they're trying to not put out as we leave our swallowing muscles alone and observe our sense of self. As we switch our self-awareness today of the world from a visual awareness to an alignment awareness of the world. As in, do we think that the front of our, or that the tip of our experience is the top of our head? The crown of our head? Or are we remembering to lead our experience with our noses? As if we were pretending there was a candle in front of our lips that we were trying to not put out. Are we remembering to lead our experience with this candle that is in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out? As it flickers there. As you feel the front of your shins vibrating to the world around you as if they were speakers. And pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out as you leave your swallowing muscles alone. always being conscious of the nature of the tongue, which is the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth and the back 1/3 of the tongue is in fact vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's alright, we don't do all of these at once, but cycling through them allows one to layer these awareness on top of each other, allow these matrices to layer on to one another, eventually to align the body. Why do we want to align the body? Not just to live a life absent of pain and conflict within the body, but to live a life conspicuously full of experienced and active grace, a presentness of ease, and a freedom for choice, not just in the body, but in the mind. A free spirit, free of suffering and pain, or free of the fear of not being able to deal with the said suffering and or pain. If you would please switch that awareness from a visual, weak 2D awareness of the world, and let's switch on over to an alignment 3D amazing awareness of the world, as we are pretending that there's a candle in front of everybody's lips. As we place in our mind's eye a candle in front of everybody's lips that we're trying to not put out. As we try to hold our controller properly in this simulation to allow our body to literally physically align itself better. Literally align itself better to feel so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would feel without. Please, if you would join me in switching from a visual awareness of the world to an alignment awareness of the world, please allow yourself to perceive there's a candle in front of everybody's lips that they are trying to not put out, as well as yourself. Anchor the tip of the tongue to the back of the bottom front teeth. Know that it wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And remember, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical. And we will be right back as we are observing our sense of self. On Pal Go On. have a hard time looking at yourself in the mirror, in a picture? Have you found in the last few years, in the last recent years, in your lifetime, do you feel that recent years have drawn you to a place in which you feel where you don't feel as comfortable in a camera? Maybe there was once a time in which you felt more comfortable in front of the camera. Maybe you have never felt comfortable in front of the camera. Maybe you've never felt comfortable looking at your face. Have you ever felt that your face looks different when you're looking in the mirror versus when you take a picture of it? Of course, there are wide angles and different angles in the lenses that make your face look different, different distances the camera can be, different zooms in which take place on the camera side, which can affect the way your face looks. But have you ever looked at yourself and thought, my face doesn't always look the same at all times. My smile's not always the same. How can this possibly be? Maybe it's because just like me and you and everybody else in the world and around you, we were not given instructions on how to use this body of ours. There was no instruction manual. We were just tossed into this physicality of ours. Each of us just being assumed that we're all using it in the same way. But is it possible? Is it possible that our bodies are not always faithfully carrying out all the instructions that we think they are, because it is in conflict with itself at different times? As at different times, our mind and brains, our bodies have different things in their awareness. And as different things are in the body's awareness and the mind's awareness, conflicting instructions are ordered throughout different parts of the body, and these conflicting instructions end up doing what conflicting things do, creating conflict. Do we not see some faces, as some of our own faces, depending on what we're doing, as having some type of conflict? Maybe when we look at ourselves in the mirror sometimes, how can we look at ourselves? How do we look at ourselves in a body in which we were not told, we were not instructed on how to go about looking? As we know that looking was more than just visuals, but rather also what is in your awareness. As you can be looking at entire face, but really focusing on maybe the lips, or you can be soft focusing on a person and barely seeing the face and really just absorbing their entire body language. How do we go about looking? Well, let's switch from a visual awareness today. Let's switch from a visual awareness today to an object awareness, to a more alignment awareness of the world. Today I challenge you, whether you are looking in the mirror right now, you might be looking at a glass window that has a reflection of yourself, or whether you're looking at an actual mirror brushing your teeth. Whether you are eating food right now and maybe you're not near a mirror, maybe you want to just imagine yourself. Maybe you're looking down at a reflection of yourself in the water like Mulan. How does it feel to look at your face? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel that you're making a connection with your face in the same way you'd make a connection with someone else? Or does it feel more closed and more like that energy is reserved for someone else? Are you able to look at yourself with a love and passion the way that you would look at a lover? Are you able to excite yourself the way that you would look at, if you were really excited to see somebody, are you able to excite that same feeling when you look at yourself in the mirror? Or does it feel more like you're clamming up, like you were about to do a public speaking event that you're not comfortable with? How does it feel to look at yourself? Does it feel as though you want to speak when you look at yourself, or does it feel like your throat is more closed off and that you want to say less? Does it go quiet when you look at yourself? And finally, does it bring you anxiety or does it bring you relief when you look at yourself? Let's switch from a visual awareness, guys, no matter how you're feeling. If you would, I invite you today, I challenge you today, wherever you are, to find yourself, to be able to look at yourself, even if it's just in your awareness. I challenge you today. You have a job today. For me, please. I challenge you today to look at yourself, whether it be in your awareness or in a mirror, and switch from a visual awareness to the alignment awareness. The Pal-Go-On awareness, pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips. Both of your lips now, right? Not just you right in front of you, but also in that reflection of yours. There's a candle in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. Don't think about allow your vision to blur. Allow your vision to go soft focus and simply pretend that there's a candle in front of you and your reflection's lips that you are both trying to not put out. And remember that you and your reflection's tongues both want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Especially the reflection that you're looking at right now. And especially right now, the reflection, but also you, the reflection of you that you're looking at, whether it's in the mirror or in your mind's eye, is leaving their swallowing muscles alone, and the back 1/3 of their tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. As your reflection is observing their sense of self and what happens. And remember to just observe. Are you remembering to just observe? Don't judge what happens. It's about discovery, not performance. Are you remembering to just observe? Feel free to come back to this video or take a break. Wherever you are, I know you may be busy. I know you may be walking around. Feel free to come back to this. Feel free to pause it right now until you can come back to this. You might be busy. Feel free to pause it right about now. If you would please, I challenge you. While you're looking at yourself either in the mirror right now or whether it's just in your mind's eye, as you're looking at you, your beautiful self, you absolutely adorable version of you, as you're looking at yourself, whether that be in the mirror or in a mind's eye or in the water. As you look at yourself today on Mover Monday, as you look at yourself, I challenge you. I implore you to place a candle in your mind's eye in front of you and your reflection. And your reflection is doing the same thing as you, right? I invite you to pretend there's a candle in front of you and your reflection's lips that you're both trying to not put out. And remember that both of you have the tip of your tongue that wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front of both of your teeth. And then both of you want to leave your swallowing muscles alone, as both you and your reflection that you are looking at, this version of you, both you and this version of you have a tongue that's the back 1/3 of the tongue of, the back 1/3 of is vertical, up and down, up and down. Both you and your reflection have a tongue that the back 1/3 of is vertical, up and down, up and down. As we are always perceiving the candle in front of both our lips, right? That we're trying to not put out. Both me and this reflection of mine. The back 1/3 of our tongues are vertical. You and me. As we're remembering that there's a candle in front of our lips, both you and this reflection of yours that you are looking at right now, whether it be in the mirror or in the glass or in the water, both you and your reflection have candles in front of your lips that in your mind's eye is floating there in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. As both you and your reflections remember that in your mind's eye, in your awareness, the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And both you and your reflection are remembering that the back 1/3 of your tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down. And if you and your reflection would say it with me, even if it's just in your heads, the back 1/3 of your tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down. If you would again, just say it with me, both of you. You and your reflection. The back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down. As you're leaving your swallowing muscles alone, and always remembering to keep a candle in front of both of your lips that you're both trying to not put out. Remember that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth as we leave our swallowing muscles alone. Observe your sense of selves. We'll be right back. Look at yourself. Feeling so good from the inside out. Thank you for that. Better than your morning would feel without. Remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. Always, always, always. Wherever you are, whenever thou art, how are you? How art thou? Welcome back. It is 6:20 a.m. on September 20th, 2021, 6:20 a.m. It is another Mover Monday on Palgawan, where we are always stretching our self-awareness like a muscle. Why? To feel so good from the inside out, better than your morning would feel without, because when you feel good, you think good. And when you think good, you do good. So what are we doing here on Palgawan all the time, every morning, every weekday morning? Doesn't it feel so good every morning to break down misconceptions that the world, society has placed into our minds about ourselves? Again, we are breaking down misconceptions every morning that society has placed into our minds about ourselves, that has left us vastly, vastly astray. But not here today, as we are remembering that the tip of our tongue wants to be anchored to the back, bottom front teeth. Not here today, as we again are holding our controller properly, right guys? We are holding our controller properly in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that counter is reset with every breath. We are holding our controller properly by placing into our awareness a candle in front of everybody's lips that they're trying to not put out, as they are leaving their swallowing muscles alone. Again, we're pretending that there's a candle in front of everybody's lips, and everybody's trying to not put that candle out, as they're leaving their swallowing muscles alone and observing their sense of self to hold this controller properly. And everybody holds their controller like this in this world that we live in their experience. And I invite you to join me in saying the weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. Say it with me. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. Yeah. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. One more time. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. And the tip of our tongues always want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth today, wherever you are. As we are holding this controller properly, I invite you to pause this if you need to and come back to it as we are about to look at ourselves, wherever you are, whenever thou art. If you are looking in a mirror right now, as I invite you to, look at yourself. Whether that be in your coffee glass, a coffee mug, or in a window, or in the mirror, or just in your mind's eye. I invite you to look at yourself right now. Look at yourself. Hard stare at yourself with your eyes. Use your vision right now. Hard stare at yourself. Look at yourself, you beautiful person, you. You absolutely gorgeous being. Look at yourself with your eyes. How does that feel? Strange? Maybe. But don't just take my word for it. Try placing a candle. Now, in your mind's eye, try pretending that there's a candle in front of you and your reflection, you and this person that you're looking at that is you. Pretend there's a candle in front of both of your lips that you're both trying to not put out. As you're getting a 3D experience of yourself now, are you not? Or a more 3D experience as you're experiencing yourself from the inside out but also from the outside in, looking at your outside in, integrating both sides of you at the same time as we are stretching our self-awareness like a muscle. Don't let that candle go out as you and your reflection both have a candle in front of your lips. You have a job to do. Don't let that candle go out. You or that reflection of yours. Even if it's in your mind's eye, as you imagine yourself, you and yourself have a candle in front of your lips as you look at yourself as if you're looking in a mirror. You and yourself have a candle in front of your lips that you are trying to not put out. You're not thinking about inhaling or exhaling. And I challenge you to remember that both of your tongues, you and this version of you that you're looking at from the outside in, from third person, I challenge you. You have a job to place the candle in front of the lips that you're trying not to put out. And remember that the tip of your tongue, both of your tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom fronts of your teeth. As you're remembering to not put this candle out, and the back 1/3 of your tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down. As you listen to the front of the shins as they vibrate. And remember the weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. And how does that feel for you? As we switch from a visual awareness, using our eyes as the front of our experience, as we switch from using our eyes as the front of our experience, or as the center of our experience, as we switch from using our eyes, our vision as the primary focus of our awareness and switch it to an alignment focus of our awareness, or a functional or an objective awareness of our situation, as we pretend that this person in front of us is not just a visual thing, but also a human being, which just like you has a candle in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. How does that feel for us? You have a job to do. I invite you one last time, before we head out, I invite you one last time, wherever you are, whenever thou art, since you are now in front of a mirror or looking at yourself, I invite you to pretend that there's a candle in front of both of your lips that you're trying to not put out, so that we can hold our controller properly in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that counter is reset with a breath. I invite you to remember that there's a candle in front of you and your reflection's lips that you're trying to not put out. As you remember that the tip of your tongue is anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, it wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth at all times, no matter what you were doing, no matter what you were saying. And to hold this controller properly in this simulation, in this life that we live in, to hold our controller properly, we leave our swallowing muscles alone. So that we can best understand what is ailing us, so that we can best achieve most freedom in our lives. We understand our baseline the best, so we can understand what conflict feels like, so we can avoid it as much as possible and feel so free. How do we do that? We become acutely aware of these conflicts. How do we do that? We become so familiar with our baseline. How do we baseline? You know what to do. I invite you to put that into your awareness. Everybody. And remember that the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth as we are trying to not put that candle out. And leave our swallowing muscles alone as we do so, observing our sense of self, making sure we're holding our controller properly. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much Whether you are coming in from Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. Thank you, Felipe, for mentioning that the mic was off. Appreciate that. Out of bed but not moving much, Felipe says. Same clothes, new undies. Relatable. Your mic is mute. Yeah, true, it was. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. Ah. I want to thank you guys so much for coming through. Whether you be from TikTok or Instagram, TikTok has some crazy engagement, huh? You can find so much on TikTok right now with like learning. So that's like been a. I think there's been a few people who have been able to who this has been able to reach. So I've been appreciating any kind of liking, comments, and sharing on there. We really appreciate any kind of support like that, like, sharing, subscribing. We want to get the word out there, guys. We want to make sure we're all holding the controller properly together and just see what the world looks like. We've tried it the other way, and if it doesn't work, then let's just go back to not holding each other's hands in our mind's awareness. But right now, it looks like the same way that you can open your hands so that you can show that you are open with someone, or the same way you can openly hold hands with someone, it appears that there's a way to do that with not just our voices and not just our bodies, but in our awareness as well. Let's hold each other in our awarenesses properly, guys. Let's pretend that there's a candle in front of our lips, everybody's lips that they're trying to not put out, as we leave their swallowing muscles alone. Tip of their tongues are all anchored to the back of the bottom front of their teeth. And let's feel so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would feel without. Breaking down misconceptions placed into you about you by society. Your only no-nonsense podcast, brought to you through the Best Feeling Network and the help of your only body, baby. I'm your host, Herbie. Good morning, everybody. It's 6:32 a.m. and this has been another Mover Monday with Pal Go On. Please go look at yourself today. Big love. I'll see you next time. Anchor the tip of the tongue to the back of the bottom front teeth. In the swallowing muscle alone. There's a candle in front of everyone's lips. Let's hold that controller properly, guys. See you next time.